Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Hello, my wonderful friends. Today will be a bit of an interesting video. First and foremost, it will be kind of a introduction to Realmathon. I will be one of the hosts for the fourth round of Realmathon. It is the entire month of March, and this video, as well as I believe there'll be about 2 others, will have to do with some recommendations for Realmathon and books you can read that hit some of the special prompts. Oh, my hair is bothering me. Come here, little hair. There we go. I have been asked to be one of the co-hosts for this, and I represent the Monarch team. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do kind of a real basic, like just dusting over what this will entail. I highly suggest that you check out Cass's video. I'll have it linked up here and in the description, because she created this and it is so impressive. Like, creators who do readathons like this one, I'm always impressed. You know, I love creating readathons, but I mean, I honestly am just so impressed by what other people come up with. I think it's insane. So I have heard of Realmathon in the past. I have seen people competing in it, but I had never taken it on before. But when Cassie reached out to me and asked me if I would be interested, I was like, yes. Pull me in. Let's do it. Let's jump right in. And especially when it's a readathon that I didn't have to create it, I just get to like follow the rules and hype other people up, I'm in. And as well as this is one where it is extremely inclusive. You can read any types of things. Just because it's called Realmathon, you do not just have to read fantasy. You know, it isn't just focused on romance. Pretty much any book you're reading is going to fit in here. And I tried to show that even with the prompts that I have for like my team's bonus prompts, because that's what this video is going to entail today, is sharing some books from our bonus prompts for our team. But there is also a whole list of other types of prompts that you can come up with. Like, there's ones that have to do with like the type of book it is, but there's also ones that have to do with like the title of books and things like that, which can be very helpful. You can read whatever kind you want. So let us get into this, and then we'll get to the recommendations. If you just want the recommendations because you already know about Realmathon, you're already going to be a part of it, go ahead. I'm just going to read the intro and then like quickly talk about the teams and then get into everything, because again, I'm not going to try to replicate what is in that original video. She is the master. We're all just living in her world, literally, okay? So this year, the world we're in is called Carrion City. And this document that I'm reading from, she also has link to that and everything in her video. So again, check out her video for that stuff. So welcome to Carrion City. This city you see before you today would have looked very different 50 years ago. Over the last 50 years, 4 families have taken an interest in the city's success and have made themselves pillars to the community. Each family holds themselves to great esteem, but behind closed doors, there is a brewing war. Each family is trying to expand their reach and their territory. An all-out magical war is about to start in the streets of Carrion City. Pledge yourself to a family to access their and gain access to their magic. So that is the like intro to this. And then the 4 realms/families that you can be a part of. There are the Stingers. And this family is led by Mel Lenore Reeds, and I Would Rather Be Reading. And the Stingers are the family that controls the docks. Nothing comes in or out of Carrion City without going through them. They have a siren call. Each member of the Stingers receives a vocal gift. They may be able to make you do whatever they say, speak messages from far away as if they are right next to you, and explode items at command of their voice. Stingers are often charismatic, funny, charming, and a little bit nosy, but they make good companions and are very loyal. And then there's the Ravens. They control the underground. On the outside, they are a few very profitable, legitimate businesses. They own most of the downtown strip, the restaurants, the nightclubs, the casino. But the real business is things sold under the table on the black market. The Ravens creep in the shadows. Their magic is always a gift of sight. They may be able to make illusions, change the way they look, and go invisible. The magic is different for everyone, but always is something always is something about vision changing. Ravens are good secret keepers and typically like to work alone, but have a select few that they trust. They're good at flying under the radar and watching before acting typically. They are quick thinkers and very adaptable. This team is being led by Books with Lexi and Leandra, the TBR0. Then there is the Stags. This team is led by Tori Between Pages and the Raven-Haired Reader. And the Stags control agriculture. Their magic is always a gift of touch. They can heal or harm things with their touch, which is why they make plants grow in the soil that is otherwise deemed ungrowable. No one else can grow anything in Carrion City. They can change your emotions just by touching you, sending calming thoughts or angry thoughts. The Stags are level-headed. They are nurturing in nature, but will protect what's theirs. They have strong family ties. They are shy but strong-willed and passionate. They may come across as softer but are just as tough as the others, just less eager to show that side. And then finally, there is the Monarchs. This team is led by me and 4 paws and a book. So these are the Monarchs. The Monarchs control the government. They have spent years building themselves up into leadership roles. Their magic is always a gift of the mind. They may be able to read your mind, plant thoughts into your mind, move objects with their mind, or enter your dreams. Anything that your mind can control. In a test of wills, I would not want to go up against a monarch. They are playing chess while you are just playing checkers. They give everything thought, they think everything through, blend in well, and get people to trust them very easily. They are often more outgoing, feel more approachable, can be very stubborn, but are very, very smart. So that is Team Monarch. So if any one of those teams sounded, the most like you or the one you want to support, there is currently a Discord that is already open. You can access it and everything. Start making friends. There are already different recs getting thrown around and everything. Again, the links to all of that are in her video, so definitely go check it out because I'm not going to worry about relinking all the things that she already has. You can go to her, support that video, and get all of those things, okay? One other thing before I get into it. So the way that this one will work is that you can read your prompts to either increase your realm's power or you can take points away from another person. But each book you can only use for one thing because you can use up to 5 prompts per book, right? That's going to be the maximum. And you'll see why there needs to be a maximum because there are technically like 32 prompts each person can use because there's your 2 bonus prompts and then there's 30 other prompts. There are 15 positive prompts and 15 negative prompts. So when you read a book and you want to use those points to take away from another team, all of the points have to be used to take away. So you can switch with each book you read. Like one book you can, take away 40 points from a team, or for another you can be adding to yours. So that is how that will work. Just like any other readathon where there are unbalanced teams, the points will be averaged in a way. That's how you make that work when you have uneven teams. Currently, Team Monarch is the smallest one. So, if you want to support, go join my team. It'll be great. But as I said, I'm not going to go through every person's prompts. I'm not going to go through all of them. This video was just to tell you that I'm participating, make you aware of it, so you can go check out her video. And I will be going through the 2 bonus prompts for the Monarchs. And I have 10 to 12 recs for each of those. And also a lot of these prompts double up because the 2 bonus prompts that me and 4 Paws and a Book picked were books with politics or books that are in a made-up place. So it can be a made-up city, town, world, country, so that's why, it doesn't have to be a fantasy world, and you'll see what I mean with some of my recs. Of course, fantasy is going to be the easiest, but you'd be surprised. There are a lot of contemporary ones that even have kind of a made-up thing as well, and politics might sound boring, but boy, oh boy, there are some that have... a lot of fantasy books have that. The final thing I want to share before I get into those recs is that Cass is an amazing, creator as well. She has an Etsy shop where she creates some things, and she also does have I think it's called Bonfire. She has a bonfire thing running so you can get some merch for Carrion City for the Realmathon. And she also has these bookmarks that she made, and she made each team a symbol, okay? So here's the stingers, the little jellyfish. You can order these right now while she still has supplies. Those are the stingers. Here are the stags. Beautiful. The ravens. And the monarch. You can buy them each individually, or you can buy a set. She so kindly sent all of the hosts a full set. They are freaking gorgeous. I love those. So you can get those to show a little bit of team spirit and also have a little bit of a memento for it. So let's get into these recommendations. So as I said, the 2 prompts for the monarchs, and again, like these bonus points, these are ones that only give extra points to your team. They can be done with every single book. So again, you can use up to 5 prompts, which again, you can check out her video to see all the prompts. There's a whole bunch of them. We're not going to go through them on my video. You also get points for how many pages the book are. And then if the book is in an urban setting, or the book has our team prompts. So those are the ways to add points onto it. So if you max out with how many of the prompts you hit, if you're reading a book in an urban setting that has politics, you're also adding more points on, which is super cool. So there's lots of ways to do this, and you won't have to keep track of this the same way if you competed in the Phantom Romance Readathon. There will be a little form to fill out after each book. You'll just click the tabs, like you'll just click in the spots of what prompts yours hit, and then she will take care of the calculations on the other end. So that stuff will be coming later on. So for my recommendations for books that are in a made-up place, I have quite a few here to share with y'all. I've also said, if you're someone who's come to me through, you know, one of the other hosts or through Cass, I am a channel focused on romance, in case you didn't know that, because again, I know there'll be all types competing in this. That's what's so cool about this type of readathon. You can read so many different things. But I am someone who's focused on romance. So I have a few books to toss in here that aren't romance focused, but most of the books that I read are. Just know that going in. That's always kind of going to be what I want. So the first kind of author that I want to start out with here, I won't spend too much time talking about these individual books, but an author that writes some really great made-up places is going to be Carissa Broadbent. Of course, she has really blown up lately, but her Crowns of Nyaxia series is kind of like vampires, and there's some magic in here. And again, a lot of these books are going to double up. So I've put them in 2 different categories, but I'll tell you which ones hit both prompts. And this is one that hits both prompts. There's definitely political maneuverings going on in the background of this, but this one also has a competition going on, and the winner of it is going to win I believe it's called a dream of your heart or something like that, or a wish that you have. And Aurea, she is competing because there's something she desperately wants. And it's a very interesting type of world or type of competition, because you're forced to kind of work with your competitors until the ending kind of thing. Love that. Then, and I just saw this announcement, so it's very exciting. The War of Lost Heart series is finally getting done, traditionally published. So if you want these beautiful covers, now is the time to snap them up, because they won't be available for much longer. I even love this one because I feel like it extra hits our theme, because if you've read them, you know Tasana can create these butterflies around her. Is really cool. So this one makes me think of her. But Daughter of No Worlds, this series is actually my favorite series by Carissa Broadbent so far. I just think it's so wonderfully done. And again, if you want these gorgeous covers with Tasana on it, you better snap it up, because they're going to be getting traditionally published, and I don't believe we're going to have her on the cover anymore. They rarely keep people on the cover of fantasy books these days. Good luck finding that. Anyway, screw that. But I have heard they'll be really beautiful. But yeah, this series is the kind where you're trying to take down the corrupt government. So there's there's a magic that she has that gets kind of recruited by the rebellion, but is the rebellion have some of the same rot in it that the government itself currently has? Who's to say? So, okay, now let's mix it up with a series that isn't romance, but definitely hits the both sides of being political and being a different world. And for me, that is a series that I read late 2024 that just completely took over my mind. Like, I'm still thinking about it constantly. And that is the Greenbone Saga. So these books absolutely hit both the political and the made-up world, and it is in this fantasy version of an Asian country, and it is controlled by these different gangs. It's very funny because when I was reading the like explanation of Carrion City, this world made me think of it so much, because there absolutely is maneuverings of these criminal like families who are trying to have dominance in this part of the world where they have it, and they're able to use magic by using jade, and it gives them powers above what a normal human would have. So they have enemies both within the criminal world, as well as, you know, a lot of like regular people don't feel too comfy about them either. So there's just enemies on all sides. But I love this. The audiobooks are performed by Andrew Kashino, and he is a talent. I will tell you that. He absolutely is. Okay, another one, we're just going through my list right here, that's set in another world, that I really love is Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. This world is terrifying and absolutely bloody and wretched. It's a world where humans have basically lost the fight to live and vampires have taken over. And the world is always dark. Something happened to the sun, and so that means vampires rarely have to like hide anymore. Like, there are some times when they're weakest, but in general they have the run of everything, and things have not worked out well for humans. And in this world we have Gabriel de Leon, who is the last Silver Saint, which means he's someone who actually has a lot of powers of vampire, but he doesn't need to drink human blood to live. But there are a lot of sacrifices he had to make to become that. And when we start this book, he is actually being held captive by the vampires. And before they kill him, there is a vampire who's very interested in the history of this war and what happened. And so this like vampire queen sends a scribe in to get his story. So this whole book is actually Gabriel telling a story to this scribe about how they got where they are. I recently got this version from the UK. I have the beautiful original hardcovers too, but I just really love this version as well. So definitely a dark and heavy one for sure. Oh, so next I have a dystopian world for you. I didn't grab one, which is crazy. I have one of the other ones. But there is the Kindle series by Claire Kent. These are a dystopian world. In this like alternate universe, we were hit by a meteor and now society has completely crumbled, and we get peeks into the lives of different survivors and how they're making a go of it. Very much if you like The Walking Dead, but with like more romance in it. Check this out. There are not zombies in here, but the humans act a lot of the ways that like humans in The Walking Dead would act. But I adore this series so much. Okay, of course, just throwing up Mistborn in there, one of the fantasy series that I love so much. Yeah, I adore this series by Brandon Sanderson. It was well, it wasn't my first book by him, but it was the first series I read. I read a couple of his standalones first. I'm sure plenty of people know I don't have to go into detail about Mistborn, but I absolutely love Vin. I think she's such a beautifully fleshed out character. I also love the magic system in here. I think Brandon Sanderson does a great job of creating a magic system that that is just very well thought out and has great consequences and great like rules. And that's what really makes a magic system sing, is not just what you can do with the magic, but what the rules and limitations are, because that means that our characters have to be smart to like get around it, you know? I love it. Okay, then a throwback series for me, The Lunar Chronicles. Oh, I love this. This one absolutely fits both. There's tons of political games going on in here. This is a series, one of my friends on Instagram actually just read this series for the first time, and oh, it gave me so much nostalgia. I wanted to read these so bad. These were some of the very first audiobooks I ever listened to, And just a little treat for you, if you guys have listened to the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros, it is the same narrator. And the narrator of the Lunar Chronicles, Rebecca Soler, is the reason I tried Fourth Wing. I love saying that because it's just so cool that a narrator convinced me to read a series that, like, I don't care about the hype that people have for stuff. I just don't. It really affects me at this point in my life and how many books I've read. I don't tend to trust the popular opinion on things. I just don't. But I did see people excited about it. So I was like, oh, let me see if the audiobook is up. And when I saw the audiobook was read by Rebecca Soler, I was like, I'll give it a go. And I loved it myself. But anyway, this is like a YA fantasy sci-fi series. It is very interesting how the fantasy and the sci-fi mix together. But we have Cinder, who is a part cyborg girl, and she ends up in a very interesting situation. There's more to her than meets the eye. And she ends up meeting actually Prince Kai, who's a crown prince, will be leading soon. And he is very much not wanting to take over his kingdom. He doesn't want to lose his father. He doesn't want to become that. But the world in this future society is in a troubled place too, because there is a queen of the moon called Queen Lavana who wants to take her domination of the moon to Earth as well and take over. And Prince Kai is one of the vehicles to do that she wants to use. And yeah, how Cinder gets involved in that and what goes on, you'll have to see for yourself. But there's 4 books in this main series, and each of them is a different fairy tale retelling, right? So Cinder, Cinderella, Scarlet, Red Riding Hood, Cress is Rapunzel, and Winter is Snow White. And how they all fit together, how all of those different women become friends and help fight for and against the moon people, the lunar people, is very interesting. So love this world. Definitely fits political as well. There is the Wraith King by Juliet Cross. I absolutely adore Juliet Cross. I love this book. This is a marriage of convenience. This also has political aspects to it because it is a political marriage, as well as like there's war going on between their people. It's supposed to be a peace deal. Our hero, Gaul, needs an heir, and he's been told that the Princess of Issos is the key to getting what he needs. So he kind of forces her family into offering her as a marriage to him. So very, very devious of him. Here's a fun other sci-fi one. We have an MM romance here. Soul Eater by Lily Mayne. This is another like dystopian situation, but we also include monsters. So in this one, there is a rift between the human world and this monster realm that gets open. And where we start this series, it's already been open for like 20 years. Humans are either forced to be conscripted into the military, or they live in these like unsafe homes spread out through, or like what's it called, settlements throughout the United States. And there are monsters who rove around. Some of these monsters are intelligent and powerful, and some of them are just mindless beasts like animals would be. And in this world, there is Wynn the Soul Eater, who shows up every so many years and starts killing people. And then we have Danny, he is someone who was forced into the military. He has no other way to like take care of himself, and he and some of his fellow soldiers are basically being used as fodder to try and capture Wynn the Soul Eater. And when they do capture Wynn, he agrees to only speak with Danny. And Danny, of course, is very like, oh, why does he want to talk to me? What's going on? But his commanders are like, if he only wants to talk to you, then he's going to fucking talk to you. You're going to talk with him. And yeah, then things get crazy. I don't know what else to say about it, but there's a very specific reason that Wynn wanted to talk to Danny, and it's very sexy reason. So I love this series so much. We have Choosing Theo by Victoria Aveline. This is my beautiful edition that I got from my friend, sent me this as a Christmas gift. But Choosing Theo, the audiobooks are fantastic. I think they're still on Audible Plus, maybe not, I don't know. But this is an alien romance series, and our heroine is actually stolen from Earth while she's just like hanging out one night. And when she wakes up, she's in this on this other planet. Now, this other planet, I believe they are like low on females, and they've discovered that they can breed with human females, and so they've been stealing them from Earth. Now, this is a crime. They should not be stealing these women from Earth, and their world will be very angry that they've done this. However, there's also like nothing they can do once they've been stolen because of the rules of like the world. Until Earth has become aware of there being other beings outside, you're not allowed to tell them. Like, there's kind of this like scale of how much each planet knows about the universe, and until the planet has like organically themselves discovered that there's other life on other planets, you're not allowed to tell them. So they can't just bring her home either, because she would have that knowledge, and they just can't send her back. And so instead, she gets put into this group where she's supposed to pick a husband and then stay with him for a certain amount of time. And if they don't end up wanting to make a baby together, then they'll pick another one or whatever. But it's weird to try to explain that quickly to someone, but it ends up being really amazing. She ends up choosing Theo because he doesn't seem interested in her. That's kind of the point. She like picks him because he's not interested in her. But then, you know, fated mate things maybe happen. So there's that. Quick one here. Mortals After Dark by Cressley Cole. Great otherworld for sure. Fated mates. We got vampires, Lycae, demons, angels, like we got all this. I don't know if there's angels actually, but gods, all these different things in here. Great series. These are getting republished now. Another throwback to my childhood, we have Aragon, Another World, also some political as well. We'd be including in this one. Yeah, I just love it. I just want to show off Aragon. I got my book signed at the end of 2023, and it makes me really happy. So Aragon. So the reason why I kind of showed like that whole gamut of some from YA, some from adult, is just to say like they don't just have to be romance. They don't just have to be full-on fantasy. There are some other ways. Basically any world that things are like different from ours, right? And again, now when I go through some of the political ones, you'll see that some of these go the other way. Some of these are political and also in another kingdom. So you'll be able to stack these books very easily. I forgot to show one more of these. Sorry. This one fits for both political and Another World too, but there is Between Wrath and Mercy. I love this one. This one has a heroine who is actually in her 30s. She's a mom, and when her daughter gets kidnapped, she's forced to go to her like kind of ex-love from when they were teenagers, and beg him for help to get her daughter back. And he is only too happy to help. This is the beautiful like clinch cover that the author had done of the book. Freaking love this series so much. It's so good. But yeah, this one's great, especially if you're a girl in her 30s like me and you don't only want to read about 18-year-old protagonists. This is a great one. There's definitely political stuff. There's definitely something cool about the mom in her 30s who is actually the chosen one. And yeah, there's just something about that that's really empowering. So really, really great. Okay, now the other side of this. So these are ones that have a political theme of some kind, okay? So as I've already said with a few of these that have both, just think of ones where there's political maneuverings by either the main characters or the characters around them are trying to use them for political maneuvering, right? As well as a few of these I'm going to do, they just straight up have people in politics that are the main characters. That also exists. So the first few that I have to share are straight up that. Like the main characters are just in politics. We have the new Camelot series by Sierra Simone, right? This one has an amazing like tagline to it. She is the wife to the president. And for like the tagline of this is an erotic romance from her. And so for a wedding present, she's gifted both like the vice president and the president in this. So this is an MMF between the president, the vice president, and the first lady. And yeah, it is also a King Arthur retelling. It's also, I mean, it's erotic because it's Sierra Simone, but this one definitely has the political theme because it is a president in here. And technically, you could probably say this is a different world as well if you want to, because it's in a made up world. But it is considered the United States. It's just like an alternate situation. So that's why I put this one as just being political, because here's the thing. Anytime it's a political one, unless it's going to be a historical, it's going to be a bit like an alternate one. You know what I mean? Because we're not telling a version of what actually happened in a romance. But that's the thing too. You can read that, right? Sorry to jump around. You can read nonfiction for this readathon. Absolutely you can. So if you read, I don't know, the biography of Abraham Lincoln, that's not a made up world, but it is a political theme, and it also would fit for other prompts that you'll see as well. So that's kind of the point I'm getting at, is that a lot of the ones I'm sharing, because I'm a romance reader, they are a made up city, town, country, world, and they're political. But if you read nonfiction ones, they aren't in a made up kingdom, but they would be political. Does that make sense? Okay. Then there is also, by Kennedy Ryan, the Kingmaker duet, or All the King's Men. I think it's All the King's Men, yeah. Which is amazing. And this one is actually about, our heroine is a Native American woman, and she falls for the president's brother, I believe it is. They actually meet when they're young, and she's actually a political activist. They meet, have kind of this almost fling, and then they don't see each other for a really long time. And when they meet up again, it's when she is going to be helping the hero's older brother run for president. So lots of political maneuverings within this one. But Kennedy Ryan, man, she knows how to get you for sure. But this is a great one. There's the Kingmaker and the Rebel King. And then there's also the, what is it? The Queen. I can't remember now. There's a third book that's not about this couple. It's about someone else in the world. But I can't remember. Is it Queen Move? Yeah, that's what it is. It's Queen Move. So definitely those ones work for a political. Gay romance, that is Enemies of the State by Tal Bauer. And this one is another, it's the head of the Secret Service and the president. Love this one. This was the first Tal Bauer I ever read, and this was so good. There's a whole series about this couple and the ups and downs of their life. It's great. Okay, for my historical lovers, I have a couple to share. Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. I believe this whole series by Evie Dunmore is political bent. It has to do with like parliament laws and women's rights in historical. I didn't particularly love this series, but I know a lot of people did, and I know it means a lot to people, so I wanted to throw it in here for that reason. Also, I have A Matter of Temptation by Stacey Reid, and this one is political because our hero is in the House of Lords, and he's working on championing a bill that he wants to pass that will secure the vote for England's most vulnerable constituents. And this woman, she becomes his like secretary for him when she actually shows up to duel him, because he's supposed to duel her brother, but she knows her brother would lose, so she shows up instead to duel and to forgive, like, I believe the debt her brother owes instead, she works for him. So that sounds all weird and complicated, but this was fantastic. Stacey Reid writes a very romantic book, and for me, whereas the politics are extremely heavy-handed in the Evie Dunmore, like, to me, that one is more historical female fiction, which, again, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not what I'm looking for when I'm reading a romance, right? This one is, like, the romance is forefront, but the politics are still very important, and the message is still really powerful without that being the only purpose, let's just say. Okay, we have Twisted Games by Anna Huang. This is another one that is a royal romance. I have a few of those to share. So this one technically has a made-up kingdom. This one very much gives me Princess Diaries 2 vibes a lot. But we have Reese Larson, who becomes her bodyguard, and we have Bridget von Ashburg, who is a princess who is just trying to live her life. She technically is an heir to the throne, but she's not supposed to be the queen. That's not supposed to happen. But she does need a bodyguard with her wherever she goes, and Reese is her bodyguard. And so, yeah, forbidden romance in that way. Love this one. There's also Royally Matched by Emma Chase. I can't remember whether this one is like the game show one or if it is the arranged marriage. I don't remember, but this whole series from Emma Chase, of course, will have a political bent in it because it's a made-up kingdom with, though they do kind of replicate the Windsors is what I would say. Like there's a lot of similarities you'll see. Like currently in the series, like there's a queen and they're going to be like skipping over the father to go to the grandson to become the king in this series. So really, really love this one. Okay, then we have another fantasy series that is very political, and it is A King So Cold and the Stray Prince. This one, it is so hard to describe this series, but this duet by Ella Fields is just wild. It's so crazy. But there's a character with amnesia in here, and our heroine finds out early on that her ex is supposed to be marrying someone, and she doesn't love this ex, but she also has sworn to make sure his life is miserable for the rest of his days because of something that he did to her. So when she finds out that he's about to remarry, she shows up and ruins that for him and brings him home and puts him in captive. So he doesn't remember anything that he did to piss her off. And, you know, she's like, you know what? Maybe it's time you remember what you did to me and why you're in this state. So this series did not go the way I expected it to go at all. And I loved that about it, okay? It's pretty controversial duet. If you read it, you'll know why, but I like here. So I'm bringing up Claire Kent again because I can. And this one is definitely more political because the Kindle series doesn't have political at all. But this book does fit for both because this is also a dystopian world, though it feels very different from the Kindle series. But it does take place in kind of like the capital of this universe. And so Devotion, this is a recent release from her. It's a start of a new series called The Central Cities. And our hero in this is a, what's it called? Administrator. He's a palace administrator. And as one of his basically like perks of the job as a palace administrator is you receive a companion who is basically your pleasure partner, is what they are. And our heroine, she has been waiting for the opportunity to be one of these administrators, one of the administrator's companions. And the thing is, Gabriel, he doesn't want one because he thinks that it's weird and that it feels a little bit coercive and a little bit crude. But he's from a very different part of the country in here. And for our heroine, like, this is the job that she wants. It's what she wants to do. And so she kind of has to convince him a little bit to let her ease him, as it's called. So yes, this is a like transactional like situation, and I love those. Claire Kent is very much known for those. But this book, it would hit both of these prompts because it is political and it's in a different kingdom, world, place. Okay, we have Bride of the Shadow King, another one that hits both. This is a re-release recently. I think the whole trilogy is available now, but I did receive an art copy of this one. This one is there's a Shadow King, and then there's Princess Farine, and so she lives in this beautiful court, but she's been shunned and is told to keep out of sight. And she has a gift, she has a magical gift, but it's believed that it's a liability to the crown. And so her younger sister is supposed to marry the Shadow King. But her and the Shadow King actually have a connection because they meet each other before they find out fully who each other is. And they're both very, very drawn to each other. And then something terrible happens, and Farine is forced to lie to the Shadow King. And it sets things on a trajectory that she never could have expected. The last one I want to share, but it is one that fits both, and I just love it so much. This one's also worth a good amount of points because it's pretty long. There is A Heart of Blood and Ashes by Mila Vane. This is almost it's a barbarian fantasy kind of. It's in this magical realm. Does this one have a map in it? Oh, this one doesn't have a map in it. There's a map available like on her website, I think. But this is about Matic, who discovers that his parents were murdered and he wants to get revenge. So he ends up kidnapping the king's daughter, who he believes is to blame for what happened to his parents. But the thing is, when he intercepts a caravan that is supposed to be taking her to an arranged marriage, he discovers that she actually wanted to be kidnapped by him, and she's actually horrified by what happened to his parents, and they should team up and defeat her family. He's very distrustful of this. He doesn't think that he can believe her in any way. She's also ugly and sickly and not healthy looking at all, and there's reasons why I'm describing her that way. But she's very cunning, and he doesn't trust that. So he's like, you know what? I don't need to marry you for you to give me an heir, because that's what he needs from her, as an heir, so that he can own her, like, kingdom, basically. But she's like, yeah, but we're going to find a better way to do it than that. And so this woman, Yvonne, is one of the physically weakest heroines I've ever read. And she can go toe-to-toe with this guy and never backs down, never gets broken. And she honestly is one of the most badass women that I've ever read. Like, I love her. It's absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, this is a fantasy romance that I love. And this is, like, being honest, back when this came out, was one of the first books, like, in the store that I actually saw the title of fantasy romance listed on the book. And now that happens everywhere, which I just love. I just love so much. So, there we go. A Heart of Blood and Ashes. So, there we go. That was a lot of books that we just went through. I hope you find some in there that you want to read for the Readathon. Again, I have tagged Cass in this. I've linked to her video. She will have all the details, all those things. Make sure you're following the hosts so that you can get more recommendations from them. And when it comes to March, we'll be ready to dominate, right? We'll be ready to do it. So thank you so much for watching, my friends, and we'll see you next time. Bye.